Hello, in this episode, we're going to see how to install TensorFlow on Mac. Right? So first you go to Safari and in Google search, can search for install and there's this TensorFlow documentation. And I assume you have installed already Anaconda. If you haven't, go here, Anaconda. If you go to the bottom, you can install the installer, the graphical installer, and follow the instructions that will do. Okay, but assuming that you have done that, now you have to install the TensorFlow, and here are the following comments. And where do I type those comments in? You have to use a command terminal. How do you get the terminal? Here's the magnifying glass on the upper right corner. You search for okay, so this is where you type the prompts, and the TF here is actually any name you want. So you can nickname it anything for you want, but here, conda /n. Let me name it differently. Let's say 2.6. TensorFlow 2.6 is probably what we have right now. As I type this comment, and then the TensorFlow. What this does is that inside your computer in the Macintosh, it will create a separate under the Anaconda. I don't want to mess up the main Anaconda specification, so I'm going to create what we call a virtual environment. It's another folder where I copy essential features of Anaconda and my TensorFlow settings. So when I mess up with TensorFlow, I only mess up that folder, not the whole Anaconda. Right? So if I do this, basically I am creating a TensorFlow folder with TensorFlow programs and some of the Anaconda features, not all of them, but the things that are needed for TensorFlow. So it's a TensorFlow environment. I nicknamed it TF26. Okay, and do I want to proceed? Yes. I'm going to install them. So I think it takes about a minute or two, probably. But now it's done. So I created the environment, but I'm still not in that folder that I just created. I just created it, nicknamed the virtual environment called TF26. What I will do now is that I have to actually go to that folder. How do I do this? The changing the directory. So right now it's in the base. That's my user directory. So the conda activate, and the name I created was TF26, TF26. So if I do this, now I am here, and the TensorFlow. So whenever I need to install something in my TensorFlow environment, I always go open up the terminal window from the magnifying glass type terminal. Once the terminal opens, I type conda activate TF26, and then I'm moving to my folder here, see TF26, and here I can type further commands if I want to install some packages, additional packages, and so forth. So that's fine. How do I know actually Anaconda, inside the Anaconda, there's a TensorFlow environment created? Well, if I go to my applications, so in the Finder, and I go to applications, I open up my Anaconda. Okay, so it's now trying to open. Later. So the base is when you install Anaconda by itself, it's the basic package, that's the base. But I also now should be able to see another one that's called TF26. Now I click on that, then I'm in this TensorFlow environment. How do I know this? Let me just go back to the base root. Actually, I can check it. if I click on in the base, if I click on environments, these are all the packages that are installed. And if you go to the T, it's alphabetically sorted. So if you go to the T, I do not see TensorFlow, RS, PQRS, T, there's no TensorFlow, isn't it? So how do I go to TensorFlow? Let me go back to home. If I actually go to my TF26 environment that I newly installed, and now I go to the environment. So what kind of packages are installed there? There's this TensorFlow 2.0. Okay, so it's a TensorFlow 2.0 library. All right. And you shouldn't do this, but if you, you can create another environment here and here and here. If you don't like this environment, if you go to the environment, if you click remove, it will install and delete all the TF26 contents. So it will delete that folder, only if you want to completely erase it from your computer, right? But don't do that. But if you go to home for this TF26, what you'll see is that unlike the base, the Jupyter doesn't come installed. So whatever package you want, like the Spider or Jupyter, you should be clicking it if you want to use that. Usually Jupyter is what people use for Python, TensorFlow, right? So this is how you install TensorFlow in Anaconda. Thank you for watching this episode.